Now, the air, we did have air domination for the most part, and one of the things that they needed, as you heard, these airborne troops, they can only carry so much. And so they're going to need resupplies. They need more ammunition. They need medical gear. They need food. They need water. They need stuff to be dropped to them. And so there was a plan in place for them to have gear and food and equipment and ammunition dropped to them at these locations where they were supposed to be. Because remember, they were supposed to be making progress this whole time. They're not making progress, but they're supposed to be making progress. And since communication is so bad, they can't call back and say, hey, we're not where we're supposed to be. We're over here. Drop the gear on us. But the gear gets dropped in the pre-planned positions, which, of course, are enemy positions. But here's what it sounds like for them, or here's what they're thinking on the ground. Then to the south of us, I saw the familiar shape of a line of Dakotas approaching at about 1,000 feet. In a minute, the sky was crammed with them. It was the first supply drop about which we had been told at the briefings. But the drop zone was a couple miles away, over the other side of the hill, right in the middle of enemy positions. By now, of course, the division should have captured the area, but the Boche still held it. News of the progress of the battle could not have reached the RAF, or the pilots would have diverted to drop their supplies elsewhere. Now, they can see this happening. And the people that are in the planes, they're called the RASC, the Royal Army Service Corps. They run basically the supply and the logistics and help resupply and drop this equipment. So this is, he's watching all these Dakotas. The Dakotas are these little transport planes. It's actually what they had parachuted out of, and now they're watching them drop this resupply. Back to the book. Among the mass, a single Dakota just overhead caught my attention. It had already been hit, and flames were creeping down from the starboard engine toward the cockpit. As it lost height, the khaki-clad RASC dispatchers were standing at the open doorway, pushing out the panniers of supplies. Those are the bags of supplies. I could see their faces. The fire was on their side of the plane. The wing was burning before their eyes. The Dakota was now little more than 300 feet above the ground. If the men at the door jumped now, they might just save themselves. In a second or two more, the aircraft would be so low that their parachutes would not have time to open. This the men must have known. But they went on with their routine drill, pushing out the panniers regardless of what would happen to them. Then the starboard wing crumpled. The flaming plane disappeared beyond the trees, the panniers still falling from the open door. The sky was empty. The last plane had gone. But we still stood watching the place where the Dakota had vanished, mourning the futility of the self-sacrifice we had just witnessed. I can't even imagine that. Guys just continuing to do their job, knowing their fate